Hello, welcome to another one of my videos. Thank you for watching. Tonight I would like to talk about, does leaving Jehovah spell doom? I know recently, like on the broadcast, they've been essentially pleading with members to stay in, the way I see it at least, which tells me that they're losing members. And it made, in my head, it really popped up. I could think of a lot of ways that leaving Jehovah does not spell doom, because I've left myself, and it's a religion like that that will try to make you think you're gonna lose everything if you leave. No, not the case. And they tell you leaving is like giving in to Satan, and that, well, here's one interesting fact that I would like to let people know. Having doubts is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you have a very healthy mind and conscience. So what kind of things do the JWs tell their members to try to prevent them from leaving and keeping them in? Well, stuff like, you can never leave because what will you do without us? And you'll never be happy. You're letting Satan win if you leave. Where will you go? What will you do? Everything out there is evil. You're just going to end up in a more horrible kind of life if you leave. It's... well, it sounds very controlling to me that for them to say stuff like that, not helpful. Their goal is to keep their people in fear. If you leave, you're gonna die at Armageddon. Which is also why they discourage discussion about basically anything that puts them in a negative light. Oh yes, leaving the organization is like a death sentence, is what they will basically tell you. Like you were better off dead. Like you would be better off just dying than leaving Jehovah's one true organization on earth. Huh. Yeah, that's... I found it interesting recently that the words organization and governing body do not appear in the Bible. They tell people you gotta stay loyal to Jehovah to gain salvation, get into that new world, just endure to the end, and you'll be in Jehovah's new world. You'll be reunited with all your loved ones. Or, in other words, don't try to have a great life, just slave for Jehovah now. Preach, 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 keep reaching out, and it'll all be worth it in the end. False. And they tell you to ignore your gut feelings. Just push all your doubts down. Push all your doubts away. Don't do any research. everybody on the outside is just horrible people. Why would you want to leave Jehovah's organization? There must be something wrong with you. And I have found, especially since leaving, I've learned a lot more about how they really treat members that have left. Oh man, absolutely disgusting. Sounds a lot more hateful, very hateful. Like, wow, that you are to not associate with anybody who is left, because they're all doomed to die at Armageddon, horrible, sinning people, like to avoid at all costs, treat them like they're dead, even if it's a family member. If you see one coming down the street, cross the road. If you see one in a shopping mall or in a store, run the other way. Avoid them at all costs. I've found it funny. I've a couple times at least, I've been in stores and I'll see ones that I used to know as Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm not afraid at all when I see one. They're the ones trying to run away from me. You just see that fear they have. They might say confidence in obeying Jehovah by avoiding me, but all I see is a very fearful person. I'm a very gentle, peaceful person. I'm not gonna hurt you or harm you in any way. And I'm the type, I'm not gonna try to talk to you because I know you're trained and programmed as a JW to avoid me, or to just avoid and ignore me. So I just think the way they view former members and calling some apostates mentally diseased, wow. And what is the governing body said? We can't wait till you guys are put out like fire and go up in smoke and end up like burnt hot dogs and eaten up by all the birds. Wow. There's an interesting comparison when I can think of when you're first becoming a Jehovah's Witness, and they show you the books and the illustrations of people in paradise, and there's all this happiness and sunshine and gardens and trees and flowers everywhere and happy people eating fruits and vegetables and playing with wild animals, and just a very happy, serene picture. And yet, for anyone who leaves or just never joins in the first place, the best picture that would suit them would be the ones in some of their books where they show, the sky's all black and red, and you see Jesus and others on the horses with the bow and arrows and fireballs coming down, and people with these horrified looks on their faces, and that's what's going to happen to you if you leave or never join in the first place. It's crazy, that if you have to, if you're not a part of our religion, then you're gonna die. That sounds very cultish within itself. I'm just, you know what? I would say leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses does not spell doom. And 3 reasons I can give are: mainly that their religion is not correct, their doctrine is not correct. Let me say one interesting thing. For the Jehovah's Witnesses, if your society has to create their own Bible in order to change and twist the wordings of scriptures, and in some cases even leaving scriptures out of the Bible, like, since when does the Bible need to be updated? If you have to do stuff like that to the Bible, that's an indication that you have to change it to suit your beliefs and doctrine, which means you're changing the word, and now it's not the true word of God. It's what you want it to say. And another good reason I would say is mainly because they've got the Bible message all wrong. They deny the deity of Jesus. They take key teachings out of the Bible, like Trinity, like hellfire and the soul and the deity of Jesus. Definitely. And the teaching of Armageddon itself and the way they describe how things and what will happen at the end times, they've actually, in the timeline, they've actually got it incorrect. Because one thing that really stuck out in my mind when I was researching is that the Jehovah's Witnesses take Armageddon out of context. In Revelation 16:16, it even says it right there. It's a place. It's not an event. And just adding to that how much they're embarrassing themselves by all these false dates trying to predict the end, and it doesn't happen. Like, stop it. I feel bad for some members that are still in it, because you're living like you're just giving yourself like just a little bit longer. We're so close to the end, just a little bit longer. We're so close to the end. And I've even looked at pictures of myself when I was still in the organization, and I could see that even though I was smiling, it wasn't a super genuine or happy smile. And I've noticed that in other pictures of former JWs that I've seen, like back then and now. Their smile now looks a lot more genuine and happy. And it's really nice to see that. Your life does not end if you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. In fact, it gets a whole lot better. You're free from the fear. You're free from the slavery that they have you in, like all the studying and preaching, and I would say it's a lot more freedom, and you can come to know what the Bible really does say and teach. You can have true freedom when you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, that's for sure. That is for sure. And there's just a few quotes that I looked up that I wanted to bring out. I thought you guys might enjoy. that might be helpful. The first quote: a healthy relationship will never require you to sacrifice your friends, your dreams, or your dignity. Now that's so true. Then when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses, because there's a lot that, I can think of 1975 would be probably the best example. There was a lot that never got married, didn't have kids, didn't pursue careers, and it's the same down to this day. They give up a lot because you really just have to fit this mold that the Watchtower wants you to fit into, and it just doesn't bring real happiness. Say in the age of the next quote: in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Definitely. And the perfect example of that is how Watchtower and how a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, the ones that have it more ingrained in them, is like they'll avoid at all costs looking at anything that is against what Watchtower might say or put them in a negative light. They'll just avoid it, and never look at anything, like whether it's a book, movies, websites, music, and that's not the best way to truly test your faith, I can tell you that. So that's keeping your mind very closed, actually, not open and testing your faith. And another quote that I found, or a nice one, or an interesting one: cults consolidate their power by making 5 demands of members: isolation, obedience, labor, money, and ostracization. Oh boy, does that fit Watchtower so much. You can only have JW friends, and even all the forms of entertainment that you have to avoid, and obedience to Jehovah and the governing body is everything. Give us, give us all your money, leave your homes to us, sell your homes and downsize and give us the money. It says we need all the money we can get. And free labor. What more can an organization like that ask for but free labor? By that I mean just it's voluntary, but it's all done for free. It's one of the stupid little things I used to justify about enjoying the preaching work. It seems silly now that we're not paid to do this. It's all voluntary. And another quote: doubt is your intellectual conscience pleading with you to be honest with yourself. Because the Watchtower will definitely say, if you have doubts, you're weak. There is something wrong with you. You just need to pray and do a lot of research to get rid of those doubts. Because if you have doubts, then there's something that you're not doing right. And as I've said earlier, it's very healthy, to have doubts. To have doubts and wanting to question things is a very healthy thing. Think of it like a child when they're growing up, how they ask their parents lots of questions because they want to learn about the world around them, or when they're trying to figure things out, they ask lots of questions. So for them to tell people not to do that, just trust what we say, we know what's best, we have all the information, everything, you have nothing to doubt, and that's just wrong. I can really see a lot more how Watchtower and governing body just really messes up people in their minds, their members, to just keep their minds closed and ignore any questions or doubts that they might have. And that's crazy, because that's not the right way to do it. And that's just wrong. And to avoid all worldly people, that's not. I grew up in the world to adulthood, and so I'm somebody that could definitely say for sure not everybody out there is evil. In fact, I would say, believe it or not, you might have better friendships in the world than you ever did in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Because, I know nobody's perfect, but not everybody who is a Jehovah's Witness is a great person too. Anyways, that's all I've wanted to talk about for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy watching my videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.